Hello everyone, it is me, Holly. If you've followed me for a while on Instagram or YouTube, then you'll know that I absolutely love creating props. I've done a prop making video before for my 7-day self-portrait challenge. If you haven't seen that, I will leave it linked below. But you know that I like to make things with my hands. Love the idea of making an outfit or a prop and then shooting with it and making an image out of it. To me, it's kind of like a mixed medium of art, and it makes me feel good to do it. And today I wanted to show you how I created these props for this self-portrait. So it's basically a leotard filled with sunflowers, and it took me about 7 full days to do. I filmed the whole process and I want to show you that today, but I also want to show you how I made the bee in this image. So without further ado, here's how I made the sunflower outfit and the bee. The first thing that I needed when creating this outfit was the leotard, and I actually bought this from ASOS for £20 I think. I searched the internet for relatively cheap big sunflowers, but I couldn't find them, so I decided to settle with these small ones from Amazon. And I ordered 2 packets at first, thinking that that would be enough, and boy was I wrong. I started by taking apart the sunflowers and removing the stalk just by snipping the stalk off and then sticking it back together. But then I actually realised quite quickly that this was going to take a long time, so I just resorted to snipping them off and using them as they were. I put the leotard on a mannequin, and then with a needle and thread I sewed each sunflower on with a cross, and I started at the top and I did one line going round the top of the leotard first. And like I said a minute ago, I did realise very quickly that I needed a lot more sunflowers, so I ended up buying 8 packets of 100 sunflowers, so there is 800 sunflowers on this. After about 4 days of working on this, I did get quite bored of sewing and my fingers were getting a bit sore, so for the back of it I actually decided to use a hot glue gun instead, and it took about half the time, which I should have done from the start, but I didn't, and here we are. I've learnt my lesson. That is how I made this sunflower outfit. I'm very happy with it, even though it looks a bit messy, but you know, it photographed well, so I'm happy with it. Now onto the bee. I decided that I was going to copy an image from the internet to get the actual shape of the bee, and I also had this little bit of chocolate that I got from I think Pollination, which is my insurance company. They sent these through the post, so I just used that as reference as well. So to make the body of the bee I used a black piece of foam board, and using the reference images I drew out a shape onto the board that sort of looked like a bee. It took me a little while just to get the proportions right for the bee, but then once I got that all right and I was happy with it, I then went on to cutting it out, and I used a Stanley knife on a mat. And if you watched my 7-day self-portrait prop making video, you'll know I didn't have a mat, and then I went out and bought one. So I've got a mat now, yay! To make the wings I used a tech folder, or what I would call a tech folder. We used to call them tech folders at school, but it's actually, I suppose, a portfolio folder. With some scissors I just cut off the bottom of the folder first and then removed the cardboard. And then at the top I cut off the handle. My idea was to use one side of the plastic per wing, so I decided to cut one side of the folder and open it up wide. And then to get the size of the wings, I popped on my bee body onto the plastic, and using a whiteboard marker, just in case I made any mistakes, I used the reference image again and drew out the wings the way that I wanted them to look. Jack had joined me at this moment, so I thought I'd say hi to the camera. I drew this part with the intention of cutting it out just to stick to the back of the bee, but you'll see in a minute I actually cut more out. But I folded the folder in half again and traced around the first wing onto the second wing bit to make sure that they were exactly the same. I then unfolded it and cut them out, and this bit was very satisfying because it was like butter. The scissors were like butter through the plastic. As you can see, I didn't cut away that little bit at the top and the bottom because I just decided that I needed a bit more surface area just to stick down onto the back of the bee. And yeah, I decided to use tape, but you can see that bit of black bit at the top. That was glue and it didn't work. So I decided to use tape in the end to stick it all down. For the antenna, I decided to use some pipe cleaners, some good old-fashioned pipe cleaners. I've not used these since I was probably about 8 years old, but I enjoyed working with them. I basically twisted 2 or 3 together just to make them a bit thicker. Then time to make the legs for the bee, so I freehand drew this onto another piece of black foam board and cut them out with a Stanley knife. I did the top 2 legs first just to see what they looked like, and then I positioned them in place and stuck them down. Oh, actually, before I stuck them down, I did readjust the head because it felt a bit too round, so I just cut off a little bit from the body. I used a staple gun just to stick the legs onto the body of the bee. I popped on a bit of tape just to make sure they were secure, and also added on the antennas and used tape to stick those down as well. I then repeated the process for the other 4 legs. It was then time to draw on the wings. So I drew out onto cardboard first and then traced over it so that I, again, didn't make any mistakes because I was using permanent marker this time. The final step was to paint my little buzzy bee. So I just got some acrylic paint, some yellow acrylic paint, and I drew on some little bits of areas where I thought it needed the paint, and then I just went round and did some painting. And here he is. I thought he photographed very well, and I'm very pleased with the outcome of this. I also did add some of the yellow onto the legs, as you can see, just to add a bit of dynamic and a bit of depth. But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed having a look at how I made this outfit and the bee prop. I don't actually have the bee anymore, which is sad. I do have the wings from it because I kind of wanted to save the wings just as a little memento, but I needed to get rid of some things and that was one thing that had to go. So I don't have that anymore, which I'm sad about, but I do have the outfit, so I can definitely shoot with that again in the future. And I think I'm definitely gonna shoot with it soon, maybe for my 7-day self-portrait challenge, which I am actually doing in April. It's going to be from the 8th to the 14th. So I asked on Instagram what I should do for just to spice things up a bit, because every year I'm just doing my own ideas, which is fine, but I kind of wanted to add something into the works, so a little bit more of a challenge, even though it's quite a challenge doing a photo and editing a video per day, but it's fine. I'll add some more into the mix. So this year I'm going to be doing a theme which is rainbow. So every day I'm going to be doing a different colour from the rainbow. So I think it's going to be red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So that's 7 colours. So for day yellow, which is day 3, I'm going to be shooting with this outfit, the sunflower outfit. So that's just giving away what I'm going to be doing. But I thought I'd tell you now in case you fancy joining along with me. Again, use the hashtag 7 days of Holly if you fancy joining along with me on my 7-day self-portrait challenge again this year. Looking forward to that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.